actually, is like I guess my thing would just be start. Just do it. Like, just try something. Even if you have to get out of your comfort zone, even if it's like making an Instagram account, if it's, going to your first meeting that, gets you to that next step, and, follow something that you love, because usually the things that you love can be turned into something that you would have never expected. So
That's dope. Well said.
Yeah.
That was really good. Though your dreams. There's no better time to do it than now, right?
And it's I think the big piece though is it's that fear, right? We all have fear, man. Like, fear of how much money are we gonna make? Are we gonna be able to pay our bills this month? Are we gonna be able to actually, like, for me as a trainer, it's like, am I gonna have enough clients? Like, are people gonna still want to come see me? And I've been doing this for like almost a decade, man. I still have that fear. Like, do people still actually want to come see me?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the House Talks podcast. Today we have a very special guest on. We got Jeremy Longpre in the building, co-owner of Fit Labs, runs his own podcast as well, has an amazing journey, and today we're very happy that he's able to join us. So Jeremy, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course. So let's just start off ground one. Like, you've been with Fit Labs here for years, and now a co-owner of that facility. And do you want to just talk a little bit about how you started off with them and why you stuck with them? Because especially here at this industry, people go back and forth from companies so often. So what made you want to stick around with that?
Yeah, so my journey kind of starts around like 2017-ish, like 2017 January. That would have been 2 years where the fitness lab was open. So Vic originally started, for anyone that doesn't know Vic is the founder and owner of Fitness Lab. He's the one who started everything. But they opened the Stave location, so in Mission, in 2015. I came in 2017, fresh out of, PT school, looking for a job. And it's funny, there was a individual in the class that, I became friends with, and Vic apparently had told this person, like, I'm looking for someone. Like, you're going to this PT class, like, look for someone that'll be a good fit for this place. So, as I went through the journey with that, I, met them, and I got connected with Vic, and I sat down on the bench in the fitness lab. I remember the conversation. It was a rainy day. I don't know why it's so vivid, but I remember it's like a rainy day. I came in, it was like December time, and Vic's like, yeah, like, let's get you started. So January 2017 got started, and haven't looked back, man. So been there now. So coming to my 8th year, we're going to be doing our 10-year anniversary for the Fitness Lab of January 2025. Ownership happened about 6 months ago. When I was there, it was me, Vic, and 2 other trainers. So now we have about 15 trainers spread out through multiple locations. So, it's grown a lot. The reason I stuck to it, I don't know, me and Vic, me and Vic have a very, like, different relationship than any other of the individuals and trainers, but I think that's obviously that's gonna happen. We've grown a lot together. I've seen a lot happen at that place. I've seen the ups and downs. We went through COVID together. That was probably one of the hardest things actually to do. And I remember, it's kind of a funny story. So we had to clean weights, right? So no one else could clean their weights. So what we would have everyone do at the end of the class, everyone would throw their weights in the middle of the gym. So just a line of weights. And I remember that at the end of the class, everyone had to walk out. We'd have to spray the weights down, and the trainer had grabbed the weights and put them back on the rack. There was like, no joke, there's like 50 to 60 dumbbells at a time. And like, you have like a transfer where you got another class coming, right? So it was, just things like that, like little things, or having to shut down and then trying to have to pivot and then trying to like be able to do so. I think my biggest thing is just the trust that I was able to build with Vic, and just the vision and being able to have that opportunity to actually grow, right? I've grown a lot just as an individual. I wasn't as stagnant, and I think that was a big thing for me, is if I felt like I was doing the same thing all the time and that there wasn't the opportunity to grow, it would have been hard to stay. And I think that's what happens with a lot of people. I started doing a little bit more nutrition. I started doing like small groups. I started doing personal training. I started doing supplements. Like, there's little things, little niches, and I think that's really important to, grow and if that's what you want to do. So. Yeah.
100%.
I love how he's able to give some equity into the business as someone who's stuck around and kind of seen it all. But if you look at like a lot of successful businesses, or um you only do find that they give back some kind of stake to like their employees or their staff, whether it's like if they're a public company, they give like shares or whatever it is, because those are the people actually looking after the place, right? After you, once you grow to a significant amount, it can't just be about you anymore and how you run it. But talk about like, was this something that you were kind of always working towards, like when you first started in 2017? And then of course I get it, like you probably became like, trainer, and then maybe one of the main trainers and things like that. Was that something that was discussed, or was it just kind of like gradual growth, as in like your position kept changing and then it led to that?
You know what's funny is like Vic always treated me like I already kind of owned the place in a way with him. Like he always would. It was funny. He would always like come to me and ask me like, "What do you think of this?" Like he would, before he would do it, right? He would build that trust, and I think that really clicked for me too. Like it was really, but that also took myself some time to realize. Like I think when I was moving with it, I didn't understand always that. I was also trying to grow as a person, and I'm my early 20s when I at the time, so I'm still trying to figure out how to run a business, even how to be part of a business. And I'm also around people that are double my age. So when I started, I was 20 years old, 2021, and I'm trying to direct people that are 40, 50. Like it was hard. People didn't want to trust me at first. Like clients didn't want to trust me at first because they're like, "What does this kid know?" Right? But it's been interesting, like to see how that's grown. And I'm still in my 20s, but just that trust and the consistency of showing up and showing that you know what you're talking about, or what you want to be, what your vision is at the end of the day. Because I think a lot of times when you get into a field, especially with personal training, a lot of it's not about how good of a trainer you are in the aspect of, like, obviously that's important, but it's how well can you be relatable to people at the end of the day, because these people are going to come and see you every single week. Like there's no other really service in any sort of business where someone comes and sees you every week, sometimes multiple times a week. So you got to be good at like being able to be their friend. Like they want to come see you, right, at the end of the day. Or if they didn't, they wouldn't come back, right? They're coming to see you as the trainer, they're coming to see you as the person. And if you can't be relatable, or you can't have a conversation, or you can't have that relationship, it's gonna be really hard to be a trainer.
Yeah, that's a great point where you're always selling. It's like any other business, right? So you're always trying to retain, but you're always having to sell what growth you've made, how you're approaching it, how you're moving forward with it, right? So it's not too different than any other business where we're a storefront. We know that we have to sell, but in situations like that, a lot of people don't get that realization that you're always selling something, whether you think about it or not, and that's you're selling them who you are as a person and how you fit into their lives and how you can better them in their physical capacities, right? So it's nice to see that you grew and you realized that pretty early on, right?
Well, and I think, like, going off that too, it's one of those things where I think of it as like even seeing my family, right? I don't see my family every week. Like if you think of it, like you have family events, right? Like you're seeing like another, obviously if you live with them, like, but like extended family. I'm seeing these people like 3 hours a week sometimes. Like they don't even see their family, their friends that much. So it's like they have to want to come see you, or they're not going to come back. It's not has anything to do with the training. Yes, obviously that's important. Like I got to make that very clear. But
Results matter.
results matter. But if at the end of the day the results are not going to happen that week, but if they're going to come in, they want to see someone that's going to make them laugh or smile, or just make them feel welcomed, right? So
100%. You're building your own brand in a sense, right? And on top of that, that's why people stay. That's why people keep coming back. Because let's just say someone opened up right next door to you guys and they did the exact same thing you did, but they're charging it, I don't know, $50 less, $20 less, whatever it is. They still won't go there. That's because the trust and the relationships that they've built with you, which is no different than us, our customers that come see us, whether they're living in like Eldergrove somewhere, the other side of Abbotsford, or now even customers like online that we're getting really good feedback from, saying that they found their new place to shop. people will do that. They won't mind paying a little bit more if they feel like they're actually being taken care of. Because if you really think about it, whether it's their personal life or fitness journey, professional life, or whatever it is, people usually aren't really taken care of, right? And all the time, they don't feel like whether even if it's from their family, right? So they can go somewhere else and feel like they're a part of something and they're being looked after. You have a customer for life.
And that's not easy because people are so susceptible to being scared in that moment because they are making changes in their life. So to get someone to commit and actually building that connection with that person, it goes a long way, and it's not an easy thing to do, especially in the fitness industry, right? There's so many trainers out there, so many different brands. How do you differentiate yourself? And that's, I think, a key takeaway, that you built those relationships over time and you realize that everyone else can offer the same training packages you do, but what can you do more? And that's, you're giving them a customer experience, a friend for when they come in, right?
Well, I think it's too seeing like you know, seeing integral to your message. I think a lot of times trainers like to flip flop on like new diet or new training style, and I'm like, you know, that's, I think it's really hard to for me as someone who's in nutrition, it's like it's really hard for me to sell someone like eat your protein, eat your veggies, eat your fruit, eat your, like, drink your water. Like those are going to be your important things. But it's really easy to sell something like quote unquote sexy, like intermittent fasting or keto or something like that, because those are going to be something that's like buzzwords. So I always try to say to people, you're going to filter out people, and you're not going to want those people that are looking for the quick fix if that's, you know, your clientele or that's your basis of person. But I always try to say like, hey, like, I've had people come up to me. I personally don't do meal plans. Like I did them before. I've done them in the past. I just don't like doing them. And when somebody comes to me like, I really want you to do me a meal plan, I'm like, honestly, I just don't believe in them. I don't feel like they're, you know, you're not going to follow a meal plan for the rest of your life. You know, you're going to have a birthday, you're going to follow your meal plan. Like that's not going to happen. So I'd rather teach you habits that are going to be sustainable so that you're not going to be going up and down, and you're going to actually learn how to incorporate nutrition in your life, not just follow a piece of paper that I gave you. So
It makes it fun for you as well, right? Otherwise, you're just sitting there after a few weeks, you're just like, this food sucks. Like you don't,
I've done a meal, like I've followed a meal plan too. Like this is boring. Like
It is.
you know,
It is. It's
really fun. You at a certain point, you're just like, life sucks. Like you see someone eating something nice, and you're, I just smell it from the other room. You're like,
legit. This is when you know, like there's no excitement in your life. You know what's gonna come next. It's like F this. On top of that, like you said, it does not taste good. So
it's like when we first opened the shop, Karn and Jazz were dieting, meal prepping, everything, and then we got those seasoning bottles. Karn would have a fully cooked chicken breast, everything. He'd take the seasoning and he'd put it on the full cooked chicken and then eat it up. But that's what happens, right?
that's true. It's just like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
No, but it's true. It's just making healthier choices too.
No, exactly. And kind of tagging on like building relationships, like communication being like the biggest thing. You have your own podcast right now.
Yep.
And you're definitely big on social media. What do you find like that medium does differently than being one-on-one in person for you?
like being on social media and finding kind of that niche and stuff.
Yeah, finding that niche, and like, are you able to communicate differently? Like, I know some people do better communicating one-on-one in person. Some people like a little bit better when they do some videos and they can kind of edit some stuff and make it look nice. Like, do you find like you're just like organically you on that? It's just a different way for people to consume like the knowledge that you're giving to them, or how do you use that through either your business, building a personal brand, and kind of navigating through that?
Yeah, no, like I think the podcasting stuff is really cool because I could have conversations with people that either they didn't think they would ever have any influence on what they have. And I think a lot of times people, they kind of have an imposter syndrome where they don't think they have enough value to provide. I'm like, and once I get to know someone, I'm like, you have a cool story. Like a lot of people would actually like to hear this. So that's my opportunity. And podcasting for me is just kind of like a passion project. It's something that I like to do. I like to talk to people and hear their stories. For my social media, man, like I remember when I started it, 2017-ish, same time kind of when I started the fitness lab, and I have like over almost 3,000 posts on there. Like I've been posting for almost 8 years. Every week. I haven't missed a week in 8 years posting. Like I haven't missed like like I've had at least one post every week for 8 years. And, I think sometimes we look at followings and things like that and we want more. But I think at the end of the day, if your message is pretty clear and, like I say, staying integral to your message, like sticking to it. I've actually just started doing free assessments for people. So kind of just like, take a free assessment on my website, see kind of where you're at, and I'll text you, I'll call you, whatever you want to do, and I'll give you just somewhere to start. I think a lot of people don't know where to start. They see this diet, they see that, there's a lot of information, everyone tells you to do this, and I'm just like, just start small. Like you're always trying to start like doing 5 times a day at the gym, 5 times a week at the gym, and then this diet, and then this supplement and this and that. And it's just like, just start like some basics. Start at one thing. Go for a walk. I don't know, if you don't do anything, go for a walk. Start there, right? So
Yeah, people they see when they're really looking for a result. I mean, we all do it as humans. We're always looking for, the quick fix or the okay, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. But it's just like, it's not the one thing. It's like a combination of things. It's like changing your lifestyle and making different choices that are just gonna affect you for the rest of your life. So no, that's a good point. We see the similar stuff too when people come to our store, and when they pick up and they're taking like 5 different supplements is gonna help them, but it's not, because the chances of them falling off because they're taking so many things and they forget and they get frustrated, they have a bad day, screw this, F that, I'm not taking it anymore. What's the point? It's gonna happen. So it's like, start off slow. Like, we'll take things out of people's hands and be like, no, don't do all this. You know what I mean? And once again, that goes back into the trusting too and building relationships.
And you got to dumb it down in today's world, because information overload drives you crazy. You see it everywhere, whether that's a parent trying to raise a kid, whether it's someone trying to open up a business. There's so many different avenues, but people just don't realize you just have to pick something and stick to it. And you'll find out if it works or not after a few weeks. If it doesn't, change it up, but you just have to give it that shot. Pick one thing, stick to it, right? So
give you time.
yeah.
I know it's so oversaid, but it's like so true. Like I try to say to people, like, I know you hear it all the time, like, be patient, but like literally be patient. And it's one of those things where if you look, like, I always like kind of having this conversation with people. It's kind of, if I told you in 5 years, like, I have like this magic ball that literally knows everything that's going to happen in your life in 5 years, and I told you have the best relationship with food, you'd have a good workout routine, you'd be, quote unquote, the body that you wanted, would you give it 5 years? And everyone's like, yes. But I'm like, but why are you so, like, why do you need it tomorrow, right? If I told you, because it's going to happen. But that's the thing, is like trying to get people just think of things in a little bit of a different mindset, because it's like business too. Like, you guys didn't just like start making money like in the first week, right? It takes a long time to like build, and I think a lot of people give up quick because it's hard. It's really hard to run a business. It's really hard to stick to something that you believe for a long time if you don't see always the results. Doesn't mean you don't need you can pivot in things, but it's tough to navigate for sure.
Yeah, and
We had a guest on who said the same thing, George.
yeah, George. Yeah,
Multiple years, he had zeros on his
it took him till the 5th years.
Yeah, 5th year was the first year he was in the plus, I think. 5 years, I think the first 2 years he said he was at $0.
He was in it just to get a car. He's like, if I get a car out of this, it'd be cool. Start from there. Now he does multiple 6 figures.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that's interesting. You got to stick to
But
it.
then that's the thing. It's like, what happens if he gave up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what happens if he would have given?
For him, doing the thing was getting the car, right? And then when he surpassed that, he's like, okay, now I think I'm doing the thing. You know what I mean? Like, now I'm doing this damn thing.
He had a well-paying job otherwise, so he didn't need it, right? But he wanted to prove it to himself. Yeah.
I mean, if you stick around long enough, I mean, the opportunities, the relationships, the networking that you have in the field, and the thing will eventually click, right? Obviously, if you spend more time at it and you put more and more hours into it, you can get there quicker. I'm a big believer in that. But at the same time, time's time, man. Time is undefeated. So if you stick around long enough, and on top of that, you keep doing the learning, you can keep implementing it. You never know where you can take something. Yeah.
Especially if you see positive growth, right?
Yeah.
Keep focus on all that stuff and just keep moving forward.
100%. 100%.
Do you have any goals over the next 1 to maybe even 5 years with the Fit Labs, or maybe your own personal brand that you're kind of hoping to get into as well, or do you like where things are at right now? You want to kind of like see how it goes right now, or is there something else you want to build up to? Maybe more locations, more trainers, an online build out or something like that? Like what's the future look like for you?
I think eventually in more locations for sure. I think that's always the goal. You know, I think for us, it's one of those things where I'm not part of the personally own the Abbotsford location, but as an owner of Fitness Lab, I try to help out there and do some things. I don't take care of the day-to-day things like I used to as a manager, but yeah, like I think eventually it'd be cool to open up a location, and if our partners together can be all at it, or we bring on a new person, expansion's always the goal. I think for my brand, you know, my goal, man, is just try to help as many people as I can. So at the end of the day, if obviously I can get more people online or more people in person, but I know how much in person can take a toll on someone. You can only do, so many sessions in a day. I've done the 10-hour back to backs, and as fun as those are for the short term, they take a lot on you. An hour, and the thing about training, man, is there's no break. You have an hour session, and by the time the next person comes, they're already 5-10 minutes early. So your conversation then goes to someone else. You're just trying to shovel down food just to stay alive. And so for me, I want to do a little bit of hybrid approach still of online and in person, and goals for 5 years. I'm someone who's like very, not that I shouldn't say I don't believe in goal setting. That's not, but so much can change, right? Like you can I think having a vision and having something to work towards is really good, but when you get down to the nitty gritty, sometimes it's you don't know what's going to happen or what's going to change. You might in a year be like, actually, you know what? I don't want to do that. And you've been working towards that for so much, so hard. But I just look at it as like, am I growing as a person? That's what I ask myself. Am I trying new things? Am I doing new avenues? Am I trying to, reduce the amount of wasted time that I have? And just being able to find that, I guess, balance like we all say we need, right? So
100%.
That's the one thing everyone looks for, but rarely do you ever find it, right?
Man, there's no
perfect
There's no fucking balance. It doesn't even exist, to be honest with you. Someone tells you that you have a good balance, I'm like, you're probably lacking in some area of your life, to be completely honest with you.
Honestly, but for me, balance is just focusing on the day to day, just being happy.
Exactly.
That's balance. If you can wake up every morning with a smile on you,
Do you love what you do? Love what you do. It sounds
Exactly.
corny, but it's true. Do you love what you do? Like, like, if you are working 9, 10, 12 hours on it, and like you're happy, then who cares? Like, some people are like, oh, you work too much. You know what I mean? That can't make you happy. Well, it does for me. Like, who are you to tell me that like what makes me happy and what makes you happy? Just because you can't do it or you don't want to do it, like, because your life is balanced, doesn't mean that mine isn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
well, it's allocation. I always tell people too, it's allocation of time. Like, maybe for the month of September, October, November, your allocation of time was towards your family because something's happening. So it's a it's kind of one of those, you're playing kind of limbo with it, where it's sometimes your goals are gonna have to like take a step back. Doesn't mean you still can't either maintain or you can't still work out or do things, but you might just not be going as hard in the gym because your allocation of time is different. And that's going to change month to month, year to year. And that's all just depending on what happens, like pivoting into this, right? So,
Yeah. You'd never have like the perfect circumstances to start something or to continue doing something. You know what I mean? That's a good point. Like, yeah, allocation of time. Like, if you go through the doors, or even if maybe you're not going 5 times, maybe you're going 3 or even 1, because things happen. But the thing is, you still have your focus on it. You're still working towards it, right? That's still something. You're still moving forward. And we talked about this too. Growth is never linear. Remember? It's like going through. We were just talking about our own stuff. And just talking about like all the bumps along the way and things like that. And but that's the one thing. I mean, if you just don't stop, I mean, he'll eventually end up somewhere. I will say one thing, Jimmy, because starting to get a lot more Fitness Lab clientele in Northstar. They are definitely loyal to you guys, man. They're always wearing your guys' stuff. You know what I mean? They will, of course, I mean, they get hooked up in our store too, but like, they'll mention it while they're shopping with us and stuff like that. Oh, do you know so and so? Do you know Jeremy? You know Vic? I'm like, yeah, we do. So you guys, I can tell you guys have definitely built a very unique, cool brand down here. I'm sure it's the same in Mission. We're in Abbotsford, but out here in Abbotsford as well. You started in Abbotsford, right?
No, Fitness Lab started Mission.
Started in Mission. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So we've had people, man, coming to the Fitness Lab for 10 years.
Wow.
Like, have literally been same time.
Oh, geez.
Same time, same classes, 5 times a week, mornings for 10 years.
I had on what day was the BOGO 55 Sunday. On Sunday we had like a family, and they were like a fitness lab family, legitimately, like not even compared to the wife, the husband, and the daughters are a little bit young. I'm not sure like if they were coming consistently or if they were, but like she was wearing like the fitness lab zip up or sweater, sorry, and things like that, and just right off the bat just start talking about you guys. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I always think that's so cool, man. Like like just repping the brand, and then like, you know, being proud about it too. Like, yeah, I go here.
Well, I think that's a big thing, and that's, you know, at the end of the day, companies that I think that can make you feel like your second home in a way.
Yeah.
That's a huge, because this is again kind of going back to what I was saying, is somebody might spend like every single day at your facility. So it's like, how do you make it, you know, enjoyable for them, and being able to, you know, want to come back, right? And we're not going to attract everyone, right? Not everyone's going to come see us, and not everyone's going to enjoy group fitness. Not everyone's going to enjoy it, and that's okay though, because I think at the end of the day, everyone's got to find something that works for them. Right.
That's what. So it's more group classes, correct?
Yeah, personal training, group classes. So group classes, like, you know, we're a little bit different than, I would say, most places, just because, you know, our group instructors too are all certified personal trainers. So I think a lot of times, you know, there's a difference between your education between the two, and I think a lot of times, you know, if you go to a group fitness class, you might not have someone that has the background of personal training you. So if you go and maybe somebody just doesn't know modifications, or, you know, all our trainers know modifications, they've worked with someone one-on-one, they understand injuries, they've had time with people and things like that. So it's like something we really want to push, is that, you know, we have a lot of trainers too that have been doing it for a while, and understand how to, you know, adjust as needed. So
I feel like the landscape of like training, like gyms and stuff like that, are changing a little bit, like a lot more to the side of like group classes, private gyms and things like that. I've been noticing that quite a bit actually now. A lot more popping up, North America wide even. I was reading something, but have you guys found that like a lot of people who did try the gym, like they'd go to like a, you know, your average gym, just didn't like it, but then now that they come to you, like they actually have a little bit more motivation and desire to lift weights? Because a lot of people say weights aren't for me, but then I'm just like, was the setting just not the right for you? You know what I mean? As opposed to like the action.
A lot of people prefer that one-on-one training in a smaller gym. The box gyms,
Being held accountable.
I see box gyms everywhere. It's trainers are getting lower and lower in count. Any gym you go to,
Yeah.
because everyone looks for something that makes them feel welcome. In a box gym, you don't get that, right? Have you noticed that, or?
I think, you know, I actually never worked in a box gym personally, so I haven't experienced. I've worked out at one. You know, I think for me, you said accountability, and that's a huge one, right? Is you're coming to, like, somebody comes in and the workout is already done. You don't have to think about anything. Like, obviously you have to work out, but everything's already done for you, in the aspect of, you have a plan, there's someone there showing it to you. You don't have to worry about what is today, what am I going to be doing, you know, what equipment am I going to be doing. You have a trainer can help you, tell you what weight you need to use. And I think the big thing with people coming in to a location or either a box gym is just, some people are intimidated in that way. And I think, you know, for us, we want to try to make people feel welcomed, and not that they can ask questions. There's someone there to, you know, guide them. You know, but I also think a lot of times when you had said like a lot of private locations are I think a lot of people think that it's cool to own a private, and I think it is, but I don't think people understand how hard it is.
It's expensive too.
And that's the thing is, you know, because if you don't have, let's say, you don't have a big box gym with their name already backing you. It's a lot of equipment is a lot of money. Um, Location is a lot of money. Getting people in your door takes a lot because you got to advertise. And I love that I'm at a private gym personally. Like now that I've been doing it for so long, but I know how hard it is. I've literally lived the last 8 years. I know how hard it can be, right? So I think the vision of having it is really cool, and to say you have one, but I think the actual startup of it is really really hard. I think it's actually harder than having a name behind you, like a Good Life or something, right? Because those are already there's so many of them, right? We have 2 fitness labs. There's like hundreds of Good Lives, right? So it's one of those things where it takes time to build, but as you build, and as you can kind of go to different cities, if that's either Chilliwack or and Rural Mission we're in, Abbotsford, that's Maple Ridge, just like attracting the people around. Because if we maybe go to the island, well, and we might know what the fitness like. Maybe there's some, right? They've come and visit or whatever, but most likely, if we were to stick around closer to those other areas, it would be more successful, right? So
100%. Because it's tough. Like if you see like, oh, Good Life is opening up this new location near my house or whatever it is, like I feel like most people, they already know yes or no, I want to go to this gym. Because I know I had a bad experience one time, or yes, I've been to this other one, I like it. And like they've already decided they were going to sign up before the gym's even made. But having to build up that framework, essentially from zero, like lots and lots of work, but like it seems like it's paying off in the sense of, like you said, somebody's been in there every day or all the time for 10 years. But that's a lot of commitment. I don't know really anybody who's gone to a big box gym for 10 years straight. They're always switching out back and forth. Yeah. And so, no, I think that's amazing. Not a lot of people are willing to put that initial, 2, 3, 5, 10 years of grunt work up there to build up what you guys built. And I think that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
No, I was just gonna say, it's just one of those things where I think it's the trust at the end of the day. Trust in that you're there to actually like be there to help them.
Yeah.
If people see that, man, like if people know, like it's you can fake it for a short period of time, but then people under that quick. Yeah, they find out quick, man, and it's one of those things where I always just try, like, it's hard though too as a trainer when you've been doing it for so long, because you get more popular, and it's really hard sometimes to manage that many people. Like, I'm gonna be honest, man, like somebody at the end of the day is I have 50 text messages. I'm just like, to try to give that energy to each individual, like that's pretty relatively the same. Sometimes it can be hard. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Of course.
And you probably have to be selective now too. You can't just take on everybody, right? And how do you decide who you're gonna take on? That's a stress of its own.
That's a tough one. That's like that's one. For me personally, it's obviously it goes by what times do I even have available. If you can come to the time that I have available, then that'll be a good part. But also do I think I'm gonna fit with you? And I think as you become a trainer that's been doing it for a long time, you start to know, okay, I can actually help this person, or am I gonna be able to relate to them, or are these conversations gonna be very like, oh yeah, so like, how are you doing? Good, cool, like, how was your weekend? Like the typical, like, just back and forth. I'm like, hey, probably better to have somebody else that I think will be a better conversation, and have someone that you can relate to a little bit too. So it's tough.
Finding people to commit for that long. With a box gym, no one really commits other than putting their card down and saying, I got a membership. But with you, they actually have to schedule times, make themselves accountable. And a lot of people are scared of that. They don't want that big of a commitment in their life. So finding people who are willing to commit that time and energy, it's not an easy feat at all compared to what box gyms are doing, right? Whereas they're just finding a building that can fit their equipment, and then it's like, here's a few free passes, get a few people in there, and then just slowly build off of that, right?
It's true.
Well, I was gonna ask, like, what makes you guys different, but I feel like you already kind of answered that just kind of throughout this conversation. But if there is anything like that you really like, no, I want to double down on this, please feel free to.
I think at the end of the day for us is there's a lot of hours spent that people don't see. And I want to say that in the aspect of that we really care at the end of the day. Like, I think, I've had conversations with clients. I'm not going to get specific, but I stayed an hour after the allocated time I've had with them. I don't charge them. They're going through a hard time in life, or something happened, or they just need someone to talk to. So I think there's a lot of things that people, when you come for your hour session, you're like, oh, I'm here for an hour, but that trainer might have been there for 10 hours already, or they've already been there for 7 hours, right? And I think a lot of times at the end of the day, it's we as individual, I'll talk for myself, but I'll talk for trainers too that we have there. I think we just really care, and we just really want to make sure everyone's okay and doing well. And I've made a lot of friends now that are my clients. It's really cool, actually. Because I spend a lot of time with them, and I do care about them. And I'll get invited to their birthdays, or I'll get invited to their work parties, and it's fun, man. And I like to show up and do those things. And not every trainer is gonna have that connection with everyone, but it's one of those things where I think in a smaller box gym too, you have the opportunity to have those connections that you might not get in other locations, just because it's harder, I find, to do that, right? So just small things like that.
Yeah, 100%. Small things that go a long way.
Yeah, huge.
They end up being a big thing for the for the client.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's kind of the same as like a barber shop. You go there, you barber shop action with someone, and then you just keep going back to them. But
or a supplement shop.
yeah, exact same thing. You try and build that connection.
Yeah.
Slowly, you start figuring out what you really are looking for in the clients as well, right? So
It's the same thing. We have customers that come in our shop, and they'll just get down to the nitty gritty, what's going on in their life, and that's cool. We're here, like, we'll talk about it. There's no problem.
But I think it shows you care, though, at the end of the day. Because I think,
And you can't fake that either.
Yeah, I can see through it like super quick. Sometimes you're having an off day and I'll just be sitting there. Someone comes in and they just look frustrated and you can tell. So you just have to pick yourself up right away and just get down to business. You gotta care. You genuinely have to care. You can't just sit there and
Kind of makes you feel better too.
otherwise you have that same and
Like if you're having a bad day, then like you come to work and like you're talking to people that are, you know what I mean? Like let's just say you made them feel good, or you just kind of puts things in perspective a little bit too about like what life is and like the things that matter. Because it's like you might have a shit day, but like if you help someone else have a good day or pick them up, you're like, you know what? Like maybe things aren't so bad. Yeah.
well, and yeah, that's it. Is I've heard some people have opened up, man. Oh, I've heard their whole life story, man. And I'm just like, damn, like, you've gone through it. Like, look where you are now, right? So it's sometimes tough, man, though, because it's tough hearing what somebody's gone through in the way of, not that I take it on, but you're just like, I've never gone through half the things that I've heard, but I'm like you're here, like you're still here, like you're still showing up, you're still trying to be a better person, even though all that stuff you've gone through. And I think that's also kind of inspiring to hear. So
100%.
have a very stoic mindset. It's
my
refreshing.
Very cool.
You don't see that out of anyone our age these days. Everyone's just focused on themselves, just pushing forward, and just that clouded judgment and just moving forward in life with no actual purpose or calmness. And your stoic mindset, it's amazing to
It is. It really
like
is.
just knowing. You just seem like you're at peace with what you're doing and you're just enjoying it.
Well, it's, man, like, I'm going to be honest too. And some days I'm like, damn, this is hard. Like, I don't want to go to work, or I don't want to. And when I say work, it's not like, to me, sometimes it doesn't even feel like work because I'm having conversations with people that I love, and, I get to care about people. But, there's some days where like, all of us sitting here, we don't want to get out of bed and go do the things we need to do. And I think the biggest thing for, anyone listening or having a hard time is, sometimes just showing up is actually the best thing you can do for yourself. Because I've definitely been there, man, where you just say, like, you show up and you start having a conversation with someone and just flip. Like, that switch just flips and you're just like, whoa, actually, you know what? I'm happy I came today. I'm happy I showed up because I was not feeling the best this morning. But, that one conversation just really shifted the whole day, right? So, yeah.
100%. Jimmy, we do this. Ask this to everyone that has come on. what would be your message? Someone that's trying to do something special with their life, something different, taking the leap. What would you have to say to them?
I think my biggest thing for, I've talked to clients. It's pretty cool because I'll have clients that talk to me about their passions, and they'll be like, I've always wanted to start this, or I've always wanted to do this, and I'm like do it, like try it, like I'll help you, because at the end of the day, not every business is the same, but how you tend to start a business is you have to start. That's the first step. It's just starting, right? Just doing something first. So, my biggest message would just be, if you have a passion for something and you can make yourself money on it, it's not going to feel like work. I'm telling you right now, right? Because if I had a client, she does some paintings and stuff, and she was doing paintings for a while, and we were talking, and she was like, oh, I want to kind of start. I'm like, why don't you just like start making an account or try something? And she did, and it's like been making her some income and doing some things. So like just like encouraging you just to start. I think that's the scariest part, actually, is like I guess my thing would just be start. Just do it. Like just try something. Even if you have to get out of your comfort zone, even if it's like making an Instagram account, if it's, going to your first meeting that, gets you to that next step, and, follow something that you love, because usually the things that you love can be turned into something that you would have never expected. So
That's dope.
Well said. Yeah.
That was really good.
Live out your dreams. There's no better time to do it than now, right?
And it's I think the big piece though is it's that fear, right? We all have fear, man. Like fear of how much money are we gonna make? Are we gonna be able to pay our bills this month? Are we gonna be able to actually, like, for me as a trainer, it's like, am I gonna have enough clients? Like, are people gonna still want to come see me? And I've been doing this for like almost a decade, man. I still have that fear. Like, do people still actually want to come see me? Even though I have, people that have like testimonials and people that know me and all this, I still have that. I still wake up sometimes and, it's a little bit less than it was when I started, but I still wake up and I'm like, damn, like, dude, am I giving enough value? Like, am I providing enough to people? But I think knowing that, and that's me being pretty vulnerable in that way, but I think hearing that for somebody who's been doing it for a while, and if you feel like you're scared to do it, like people even that have been doing it forever feel like that, right? They still get those doubts. So,
And that's growth when it's within itself, realizing that and knowing that, okay, how can I add value? How can I do better? Even if you're at the top, there's something you could do that will make your business excel or make your personal life better. So just get at it and get after it.
Jeremy, where can everyone find you?
So socials at Up North Athletics, podcast, Northstar pod, North_pod. I don't think I could get Northstar pod. Yeah.
It'll be in our. We'll link it into the.
Fitness Lab. So www.fitnesslab.ca. Yeah. Sorry, there's so many websites. I have www.upnorthathletics.com. I'm trying to remember all these names, but just for me, I always also keep everything open, like in the way of any questions, just let me know. I'm kind of like the person that I love to give free information. I know sometimes, you gotta pick and choose when you do it, but I've always been someone that loves to just have a conversation and help someone out. So
Yeah, well, it's okay. Well, even though Jeremy's not remembering all of them, we'll have them in our bio. Yeah, we'll make sure we get them. Yeah.
That'll compound though, even giving out that free advice.
It always does, man.
Eventually it does.
Oh, it does.
Does it? If you really truly believe in what you do and you believe that you're one of the best at it, you shouldn't be afraid of giving away things for free.
No, I think that's a big piece that people are scared too of doing, because they think like they're undervaluing themselves, but you actually learn the best when you are teaching.
100%.
Because when you read something and then you teach it, you retain it better, right? So it goes a long way. So
Yeah. No, that was dope. Awesome, guys. So make sure you guys check out Jeremy, check out Fitness Labs, check out Up North Athletics. I can't even talk. But awesome, guys. Until next time, be good.
thank you.